relax, live your life, watch the videos, get knowledge, get more information, especially watch the links that I put down there from the specialists and the psychotherapists and the doctors. Especially watch Dr. Schwartz Presentation based on experiences that I've done in the laboratory, and the MIT professor and her students did a very interesting experience that is included in Dr. Schwartz presentations. I highly recommend you watch that, understand how your brain works and the role of obsession to compulsion, to dopamine, to habits, and you learn the more you entertain these nonsense thoughts, irrelevant thoughts, the more you are creating synaptic neurons to occupy your mind with that kind of a thinking, which is all nonsense. But when you constantly treat it and entertain it, well, then you become always occupied with that, and whatever you're occupied in your head, you make a mistake thinking what you're occupied is reality. We talked about it in other videos. Life is an illusion. The illusion you focus on is the reality. So if everything that comes out with all kinds of reasons, unless it is something you creating it purposely, you go into your consciousness, you pick up some inventory of knowledge and information, and then you use that to calculate something, figure out something, produce something, design something, learn something, accomplish something, unless it's that which is your thought, you're using the apparatus of brain to create what you need to do with thoughts. Unless it's that, the rest of it is what thought conjures up. And what it conjures up is an illusion. But if you keep focusing on that illusion starts looking like a reality. But there is no actuality to it. You have made it by constantly entertaining it. Stop entertaining it so you won't rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, which is constantly doing something and creating new synaptic neurons, which makes you being really good at what it is that you're not supposed to even pay attention to. Because just like you want to learn piano, the more you play, the better you get, because it creates more synaptic neurons to make you better at that. And the less you play piano, then the synaptic neurons are going to be marked by CQ1 protein, and then microglial cells at night when you sleep go and see that these synaptic neurons are dormant and destroys them. And then you're no longer as good as you used to be when you were practicing a lot of piano. Same thing. If you stop paying attention to these nonsenses that shows up in your brain, in your head, then you're actually rewiring yourself for not paying attention to these things, which eventually, by your behavior and not paying attention to these things start showing up less and less, because they can see by your behavior there are no interest in here. Even the caudate nucleus is not working properly to shut off the intrusive thoughts that is created by the orbital frontal cortex. Even though it's malfunctioning, caudate nucleus, to shut off the intrusive thoughts, but your behavior, because you're distant and you don't pay attention to, you recognize what there is, okay, and then you do your own thing, your behavior rewires your brain towards not paying attention to these things. And when the brain realizes that there is no taker here, there is no entertainment here, it'll eventually shut off on its own, and caudate nucleus gets to refunction normally as before. That's why many of us get this and then it's perfectly fine again, and then we say, oh, thank God I didn't buy into that one. And then a few years later you may get this for different reasons, and usually, I mean, there are many reasons that happens, and too much computer or too whatever is happening out there. I don't know what the hell is going on out there, and there's so many people, it's so common, millions and millions, if not everybody. Well, we know that 94% of people have intrusive thoughts. But when they're not in the glitch of OCD, they just recognize, oh, okay, and they go on, and then caudate nucleus shuts it off. But when it doesn't, then you start thinking, oh, maybe it's real. Don't fall for it. Just live your life and enjoy your life, and with your behavior, create this, and we all go through this once in a while, and that's perfectly normal. Don't be surprised if you see somebody and some kind of a weird thought shows up. Don't buy into it. Okay, weird thought shows up. Weird thought shows up all the time, didn't it? And you know, it could show up as soon as your girlfriend maybe looks at some guy and says, oh, you know, I used to like this guy. And suddenly intrusive thoughts start because that guy seems to be now superior, you seem to be inferior, and they all translates into, being dominant or not being dominant, being a top dog or not being, and then the negative mind runs with it with sexual images and all kind of nonsense. It's thought. Let it be. You know inwardly who you are, what you are, because that is the me, the superior intelligence that knows about your gender, your inclinations, and everything's clear in there. Just like when it was clear 40,000 years ago, a million years to 40,000 years ago, there was no such intrusive thoughts. Why? Because there was no thoughts. We weren't able to think or speak. So there was no intrusion. There was no ideas or suggestions of this kind. Because thoughts are the roots of our problems. When there was no thoughts, capability of thoughts in us up to 40,000 years ago, there was no such confusions of any kind. We were living like animals, instinctively. Eat what we had to eat, sleep, hunt, have sex, and it was all clear what we were, what we weren't. Once thoughts start to become an apparatus, a tool for us, then these ideas, which are based on all the information that's available out there, and the more information became available and into people's hands more freely, like internet, computer, images, this and that, the more information is here, and then the brain runs with all those information, and the negative part of it runs with intrusive thoughts and creates all kind of shit. And then you, brain being powerful, you think it's sticking there, staying there, it's continuously insisting on it, and you think, oh, there's something that is changing in you. Nothing changes in you. The gender doesn't change. Whatever you've been born and created as, that's what you are going to be enjoying your life, all through your life. These are thoughts, and you're not supposed to be thinking that thoughts have anything to do with taking anything away from you, and because thoughts also never had anything to do with you having been created the way you have. Thought didn't even exist how you were being put together, your mother's womb. So rest assured, relax, enjoy your life, and understand. Thought is thought. It's the brain's work. It's a thought that is made by the brain, not by you. You use the tool, the apparatus of brain to make your own kind of thoughts, which is for the purpose of learning, creating something, designing something, accomplishing something, figuring out something, calculating something. These are your thoughts. Judging something, analyzing. The rest of it is brain's work, not yours. Just because it's in your head, that doesn't mean you're responsible for it. And don't fall for it. Stand your ground, enjoy your life, and everything will be fine as long as you have this knowledge of separation between the me, you, and brain. The me, you, and thought. Then thought is subordinate, and you filter it, you choose it, just like when you breathe, you have filters in your nose to get the impurities out and get the oxygen in. When you look at something with your eyes, just because you see it, you're not responsible for it. If you don't think you're interested, you look around. And you're hearing things, you're not responsible for what you're hearing. If you hear it, that doesn't mean that's the music you made. You have the ability to hear. But if you don't like it, you plug it or you go somewhere else. Same thing, thought, brain makes thoughts. You filter it. You choose among all these things that it makes, and most of them are garbage. That's why you don't pay attention to it. And that's why Nucleus is there to shut all these extraordinary stuff there, and then you just choose from what is relevant to you and leave everything else irrelevant to you. They will always be irrelevant to you. Have a wonderful evening and chill out, relax, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.